Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Forensics Classroom. We are going to start talking about all of the different events that you will have at your fingertips in order to start competing. And so the first thing that I decided this year we're going to do is we're going to go a little in depth for you guys. Forensics 1 kiddos, you'll get kind of an overview of stuff that I look for. Forensics 2, you guys will go a little bit deeper into regards to what each one of these different events is. So the first thing that we are going to start is we are going to start with the in regards to the public speaking events. The thing that I want you to remember in regards to these formats is that there's going to be videos that are embedded in these things. The thing that I want you to kind of keep in the back of your mind is that all of these are NSDA, National Speech and Debate Association, performances that hit the national stage as the top 6. Okay. There's a reason why they are there. They're on YouTube. You can find a lot more depending on what event you type in. Normally, if you just type in NSDA and then whatever event it is on YouTube, you will you'll pull up that event with lots of options. These are like selections, and sometimes there will be some content questions that I want you guys to just be very mature as you watch it. Because there are things that are allowed on the tournaments that are hosted outside of our state that are not allowed in our state. And if you are going to compete in both stages, you've got to learn how to modify and adjust. Okay. There's a little bit more of a conservative audience in the state of Arkansas. And so you want to think through your performance piece conservatively. Okay. If you are outside of the state, there could be language that's allowed. There could be content that's allowed that you need to kind of navigate through. What I would suggest is that you pay attention to the performance format and the style. Forensics 1, there's a very specific way that these national performances are put together. Okay. I want you to watch the video with an open mind, pay attention to that format, pay attention to even where the intro falls, okay, and how they navigate through that particular transition from opening, which is called a teaser of the piece, into the intro, and then slide back on title and author back into the performance of the piece and take it on to the end, okay? I want you to pay close attention to every detail of these performances. There's a reason why they are on that stage, okay? And that's why we are watching these, to be very meticulous in how it is put together, okay? So these are the National Speech and Debate Association public speaking events: extemporaneous speaking, original oratory, impromptu, and informative speaking. We will cover for the first couple of weeks. We're going to be navigating through the public speaking events of oratory and informative. So I'm going to cover those here for you today. The thing that I want you to remember when you are watching these videos: be mature when you're watching, be meticulous when you're watching, pay close attention to format, okay? There are a lot of things that are important to note and emulate, especially in public speaking. The presentational style of it needs to be very conversational. It is not done like this and not over affected, okay? You want to be very comfortable and conversational in your delivery of your speech, because you want the person to feel comfortable with you and to listen to what you are saying and to buy what you are saying. So this over-presentational style that you do, it could possibly hurt you because it's affected. Okay. Look at how creative these speeches are, how important these speeches are, because you are able to do this too. Okay. Pay close attention to what their topics are. In regards to topics, in the bookshelf that is at the front of my classroom that has the lobster poster on it, okay, you will find this binder. And it's the Oratory and Informative Topics. There are lots of different topics in here that have been submitted by folks from years past. These are all options for you to be able to jump in on. The thing that you need to remember is that you solidify an idea that appeals to you. It is not one that you're like, oh, well, I don't know what to do. Okay? It's very important that you find your voice, that you write a speech that you are passionate about. Don't come to me and ask me what your topic should be. Okay? Come to me with ideas, and I can give you ideas on how to go to that next step. All right. So you'll find this book at the front of my classroom, and you can grab it and take a look at it and kind of go from there. Okay. So as we jump in to public speaking, why do we think public speaking is important, and why do we benefit from it? It can help with career advancement. It can help boost your confidence. It gets your point across. It forces you to try and explain the who, what, when, where, and why it's important to you, and to pull people to your side sometimes, to think on a different level, okay? To instigate change, to make those new social connections and promote social change in the world. It improves your communication skills the more comfortable you become. It also is really satisfying to be passionate about a topic and to know that you have an audience who is hopefully captivated by your speech for 10 minutes. Okay. That is phenomenal opportunities. Okay. Plus, it also it boosts that confidence level to be able to feel comfortable standing in front of an audience and speaking to them about something that you're passionate about. All right. So the first one that we're going to cover is original oratory. Okay. Some of the stuff that you see here on the left-hand side has been pulled directly from NSDA. Some of it has also been pulled from our active judges ballots that you would receive if you were in person, okay? The thing that you need to remember about oratory is that it is a persuasive speech, okay? The topics can range widely, but has to be persuasive in nature. So when you look through here and you see that there's something that you go, oh yeah, I can totally get on that. You have to be able to persuade your judge as to why it's important that change needs to happen, and then persuade them how to do it. Okay? You've got to make sure that there is an argument that is based in evidence, that it has logic, and that you're appealing to your audience's emotions. Okay? You want to inspire them to do more, to instigate change. Okay? The speech should be well organized and researched and organized with that evidence. Sometimes humor is also used and really needs to be used very smartly. Okay? It should not be in there just for random, blatant kind of a thing. And there's a misconception that I want you guys to understand. It needs to be very formally written, okay? Very well organized and in a very formal style voice, okay? You never, ever, ever want to write it from your own personal, way you talk to your friends. So Shem, dude, and aha, and all that kind of stuff. Don't do that, okay? Write it very formally, and then your challenge is to be able to communicate that comfortably and conversationally, okay? The key to this speech is also to make sure that you cite sources, and you need to have sources for everything that you you can't plagiarize whatsoever, okay, ever in any class. You can't do that, okay? But you are only allowed 150 directly quoted words, okay? So paraphrasing it and writing it in your own words is preferred as much as you can, and then save the super, super important stuff for direct quote, okay? And you need to be really blatant with the way that you quote it. And you'll notice that in these speeches. So, in a Newsweek article dated March 2019, in an article entitled blah, 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 written by, the author states, and state the actual author's name, and then directly quote it. Okay? That's blatant. All right? You want to have in your 3 points, you want to have possibly a quoted source for each one of your 3 points. Okay? One of the things that I'm going to sneak away from right now, I'm going to sneak away and I'm going to your Google Classroom. All right? You will find on your Google Classroom portfolio. All right? This is going to be very beneficial for you in regards to setting up your speeches. Informative and oratory have their own portfolio, and there's a section of it that will be due, and you need to look at the syllabus because the syllabus will show you exactly what is due and when it is due. Okay? So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to use this oratory outline that is right here. Okay? And you are going to develop your speech using this oratory outline. All right? Forensics 2 folks, you'll be glad to know that I've revamped this year so it's less confusing. Okay? But I'm going to walk you guys through this. So, you are going to put your name and the date. You're going to use and create an oratory title. Your attention getter is normally a metaphor, okay? A metaphor that's going to lead you in a spin that will lead you to your actual topic. And then you're going to use that metaphor throughout the entire speech. There's 3 examples in that PowerPoint that I'm sharing on the other side. 3 national speeches that are phenomenal. And you'll see that they use metaphor throughout the entire thing. That is super, super important that you figure that out. However, it's the hardest thing to come up with. So place it last. Do it later. Do it the last thing if you can, okay? Because it may come to you as you are researching your topic, okay? The roadmap is basically the 3 points that you are going to cover. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with an attention getter, which is your metaphor, and you're going to go deep into that metaphor. And you're going to be talking about glossy, blah, 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 and all of this stuff. And all of a sudden, you're going to spin it towards your topic. Okay. So today we're going to talk about, first, we are going to speak about, and then you're going to talk about your first point a little bit. You're going to tease it. Then we're going to move into the second point, tease that. And then lastly, we're going to talk about this, okay? Tease it. And then wrap it up. That's your roadmap, your 3 teases. And then what you're going to do is you're going to wrap it up at the end and include the title somehow built into that ending of that opening sequence, okay? Never, ever, ever say an original oratory by. Remove that now forever and ever and ever from your mind. All right. Now, what you're going to do next then is you're going to take that first point and you're going to rewrite it here and you're going to restate it using your metaphor. Okay. So you're going to use that metaphor and you're going to talk about da 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 da, and then you're going to blatantly state that first point as you kind of evolve it into the point. And then you're going to start to use the research that you have found. Okay. And you need to have at least one quoted source in that first. Listen, you've got to support everything that you're saying because you want your audience to buy into it. Okay. You want that audience to understand what's happening. Okay. Maybe that first point is always about the history. Okay. The background information. And then the third point, or second point, is where we currently are with it. And then the third point is what needs to be done about it. Okay. So what you're doing is you are going to quote sources to support that first point. Okay. Now, what you're going to want to do is include the entire article at the end of the outline. There's a typo there. Okay. But you're going to highlight everything that is in that entire article that you have used, whether you have cited it or paraphrased it. Okay. Then you're going to go back to the metaphor and you are going to go a little bit deeper into that metaphor story and then shift it towards that second point that you're covering. Okay, so if it is where we currently are, okay, and then you're going to cite sources. So your supporting factor is like some of the paraphrasing stuff that you found, the writing it in your own words. Maybe one of these or two of these is your cited source, okay, blatantly cited. And then again, you're going to have to cover that entire article, copy it, paste it at the end, and highlight where you have used it, okay? Then you're going to go back into that metaphor and slide through deep story, tell it all about that, and then shift it towards that third main point, okay, which is the last point. Paraphrase, 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 and then cite the source, okay? And what you're going to do by that point is you are then going to conclude it. And we do what's called a reverse roadmap, okay? Which means you are now going to go back and tell the judge, some of the things that you have now covered. So you're going to go back in and you're going to say, so first we learned that this, and this, and that happened. You're not going to don't bring any of that metaphor back for this one, okay? So on the reverse roadmap, you're just going back in to remind us and summarize what it is that we should know by this time, okay? And reminding us and all of that kind of stuff, but going in the order of that roadmap, okay? You're reversing the roadmap. And then what you've got to remember is in the last point, you have to have in an oratory a call to action. That's the persuasion, okay? What you're going to do is then you're going to say, so where do we go from here? So it's kind of like if you wanted to do 4 points, you could do 4 points if you're finding lots of stuff on it. So you're gonna go back in and say, now here's what we need to do with the information, and this is why change has to happen. Calling your senator, calling this, calling that, blah blah blah, and whatever it is that you're doing for your call to action, and then you're going to conclude on this concluding statement. You are going to conclude by reminding us of that road of the metaphor at the beginning, and it's called bookending. Okay, you're bringing us back to the beginning metaphor story, but you're shifting it to what we needed to know by the end. Okay, so your metaphor provides kind of like a through storyline that also then solidifies a roadmap. Okay, it is the hardest thing to do in public speaking. All right, I'm telling you, but the minute you can get that aha moment and get type of a metaphor solidified, the better off you're going to be. Okay, and you may find it in research as you're researching your topic and your 3 points that you want to cover. You are going to have a possibility that you will have it kind of hit you. This is where you're going to attach at the end of that concluding statement. You're going to attach all of the articles that you used with your highlighted quotes. Make sure that title and author are all there, okay? Make sure it is the full article, and no bibliography is going to be allowed this year, okay? Now, this is due at the end of the semester, okay? I'm going to ask for the deadline to turn in your oratory outline, that you just turn it in, okay? If you've got this done, if you've got the title and author and the articles attached, great, okay? But I'm just going to ask, I'm going to set a due date in the next week or so, because this is what we'll be working on in class, is working on an informative or an oratory, and the oratory outline is what you will be turning in for grade. Okay. Also, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you document rehearsal log, any kind of research that you do, any type of time frame that you're searching for a topic, you're going to want to document it here. Okay. So that you have everything documented and don't put it off Okay. Do not put it off, but be documenting it in class, how much time you spent, any of that kind of stuff, and be meticulous. Date, start time, end time, total time. Your rehearsal goal was research. Your rehearsal goal was solidifying research for the first point. Did you achieve it? No, I need to continue working on first point. Okay. Super easy. The self-eval will come towards the end. Tournament reflection will come towards the end as well. Okay. And that's all. And then your ballots will need to be attached. Okay. Portfolio is due at the end of the semester. So you've got time. However, this oratory outline will be due in the next couple of weeks, whether you're doing it in oratory or whether you're doing it informative. Okay. And obviously any questions can be answered by your mentors or myself. Okay. Okay. So that's portfolio. Remember, where you can find it is on your Google Classroom. All right. All right. Let's go back to, see if I can find it here. There we go. Okay. So persuasive. Okay. Your speech has got to be completely memorized. So by the time that we would take it to tournament, it has to be completely memorized and delivered without a manuscript. There are no visual aids that are allowed in oratory. Okay. And it is a 10-minute speech with what's called a grace period. You get 30 seconds of grace period according to NSDA. Okay. But you do not want to go over 10:30, because if you go over 10:30, you cannot be ranked first place. Okay. Movement is optional. Obviously, this year we're acting to this camera, okay? But if you are live and in person, it's then preferred and definitely something that needs to happen, because movement provides an idea of organization, and there's a specific way to be able to do that, okay? Obviously, with camera work this year, you're going to have minimal movement, okay? And then these are some of the things that I look for. Your topic has to be important. All right. Don't waste my time on some random frivolous thing. Okay. The first thing, if you come up with a topic, the first thing I'm going to ask for is, now, why do you think that's important? Okay. What do you think the judge is going to say about importance? And if you can support it, jump in. Okay. There's plenty of mentors that have experienced that from me, and I've really been questioning it. However, they've shown me wrong, and I'm all about it. Okay. You just got to be passionate about your topic. The 3 main points are a must. Okay. You've got to use that oratory outline. I'm telling you. Okay. It has to be well organized and thought out and very persuasive. And that oratory outline, you can see, forces that issue. All right. It's got to be easy to follow and understand. Remember that you are writing it very formally, and then you're going to deliver it conversationally. Do not write it informally and in your own voice. It needs to be a collegiate style of speech that you have written. Okay. And you're going to see it in these, and I'm not saying that it needs to lack humor. You're going to see in these speeches, there are some humorous moments. And in fact, that's preferred. You want to make your audience think, but you also want to make sure that they're entertained too, but you don't want to have it negated by, well, that's a child voice, talking, dude, don't do it. Okay. Make it important. Make sure you are passionate about it. Include every cited source meticulously stated in each one of those main points. And then your conclusion needs to include the 3 main points at the end without that metaphor. Okay. But you need to remind us about what we should know at the end of that speech. Okay. Bookend. We've talked a little bit about it already. What you're going to do is you're going to start off with the metaphor, and then you're going to go into that roadmap, okay? And you're going to tell us the 3 points that you are taking us on. You're taking us on a journey, okay? Then you're going to use that metaphor to transition from into point number 1, speech, transition into point number 2, speech, point number 3, okay, speech. Using that metaphor, building it up, going your way through it and then getting us to the end. Then you're going to reverse roadmap and you're going to remind us without the metaphor, what are the 3 points that we should know? And then you're going to jump in to the call to action, which is what we should learn and what we should be doing with this information, passionately delivered. Okay. And then you're going to come back to the metaphor because you started with the metaphor. You're going to go back to the metaphor. Okay. Bookends. It's bookended. Okay. That's why it's called a bookend. Okay. What I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you watch these speeches in class. Okay. These are the top national winners. They made the top 6 at nationals the last couple of years. Okay. Pay close attention to format. All right. Close attention to format. So at this point, what I would want you to do is leave the PowerPoint, leave this video, and go into the PowerPoint that I've shared with you on Google Classroom and watch these 3 videos meticulously. Okay. Thinking about everything that I've told you. All right. All right. Let's jump ahead. This is a section that I've added this year, and it's what to expect competing in oratory. And it is off of the NSDA website. Okay. Click this. It's written by someone who has competed at your level, and they have been asked to come in and write like what to expect when you're competing in oratory. Okay. And the ins and outs of it. Not only do you have mentors in this classroom that can do it, but you've got national contenders who have been willing to write stuff like that. Okay. So looking at that and kind of thinking your way through it and thinking, do you have an idea for a topic of an oratory that is really persuasive and can navigate through that? Okay. Okay, let's talk informative. Informative is the same format. It's literally the same format as oratory. So you're going to use that same oratory outline. Everything else that I have told you about oratory, you're going to have in there except a call to action, because an informative is just that. It is an informative, informing someone about something that you like, an oddity, something that's quirky, something that's fun. It has to be important, okay? But it's written exactly like the oratory, organized by that outline, okay? Informative in nature, to educate, not advocate, okay? There's the difference. Educate, not advocate. So there's no call to action, okay? Visual aids are permitted. They're allowed, but they're not required at the national level and in the state of Arkansas. However, they are required on our team, okay? They are required, be all, end all. Because if you imagine getting into a room and you have someone who walks in there without any visuals whatsoever, and they have the most eloquent speech, beautifully organized, beautifully spoken, all of that. And then you have somebody else who has the exact same delivery, organization on a different topic, and yet they have very professional visuals. What do you think is the one thing that the judge is going to think? Oh, that person went above and beyond, and I'm actually very able to follow it. Okay. That's why we say you must have visuals. Okay. Your speech is delivered by memory. It's written by you with the intent to inform someone about a topic of significance. Okay. But it does not persuade them. An informative is not simply an essay about the topic. It has to be well-researched, organized, with evidence and logic and sense of humor built in there. Okay, humor is there. And the topics are varied and interesting. And here again, when you grab this binder, there may be informative options in here. You just got to remember to grab it, and it cannot persuade. Okay. The other thing is, if you choose one of those topics, you need to lock it in immediately and take a note card and put it on this wall chart that I have, because nobody can copy the same topic. You cannot have the same topic on our squad. Okay. So once you have solidified it in, you need to get it up on this board as quickly as you can. All right. Visuals are a must. Okay. Visuals are professional looking. We do not handwrite anything. Everything has to be large, crisp and clean, very creative in the way. You're going to notice that the visuals are very interactive on national stage. The simpler, the better. What I would suggest is that you create a title board, that you create a slide visual, meaning a large board, for each one of your 3 points. And then you can add pieces to it. You can remove pieces to it. You can add red slashes through it that say, like, no, don't do this, any of that kind of stuff. But your topic has to be important, okay? You need to use the oratory outline on those portfolio pages and use it for organization, and that will ensure that you are organized. There's a metaphor that needs to be there. Okay, you've got to cite the sources, just like I said in regards to oratory. So make sure that you've got all of that in there. And then you are going to conclude, reverse the roadmap, and you're going to end it, but you're not doing any call to action. Okay. So you're going to remind us what it is that we've learned and why it's important. And then you're going to come back to that metaphor, and you're just going to talk about the metaphor and bookend it again. All right. The things that I've also included are 3 more informative speeches. Okay. So at this point, skip away from the portfolio or from this and get on the PowerPoint that I've shared with you and watch these 3 very interesting informatives that made the national stage over the last 2 or 3 years. Okay. Go ahead and do that now. Once again, I have this information here in regards to what to expect competing in informative. Okay, this is from NSDA. So it's super, super important that you give that a look on the link so that you can see what those kind of things are. And then the last slide is why should I include this metaphor? You've noticed how I have utilized it in regards to the delivery of this speech. You need to make your subject more relatable to your audience. So if it is something that is way over their heads that you can compare it to, that they can make a connection to, the better off you're going to be in regards to pulling audience members in, to make a complex thought much easier to understand. What you will notice is here's an article in regards to how to find metaphors and how you can use them within your speaking style. Okay, so right now, all we're focusing on is the writing of an oratory or an informative. Okay, coming up with that topic and jumping in will be your classroom assignments as you are going forward. And probably by the end of the week, I will have a due date for you in regards to when your outline is due to me. And everything has to be done in regards to that, because it'll probably be about a 150-point assignment. Okay? So make sure that you have that done. All right. As always, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to give myself an email, or if you want to talk to me in class, or there are mentors that are posted on the double-doored cabinet in my classroom. The mentors are listed facing the whiteboard so that you can contact them via either cell phone or their school emails. Okay. And it does have what they've specialized in their time frame on the squad. So good luck. All right. May the force be with you. May the odds be ever in your favor. You got this. All right. Take care.